Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV. Well, welcome to our preview that we do every week with regards to the opposition fan channels. And this week it's Jack from Fulhamish. And what we've done, as we always do, is we've sent some questions to each other. And what we're going to do now is we're going to answer them. But before I do, don't forget, as you can see here, this is our new Man City Fan TV t-shirts with the David White and Paul Stewart and Ian Ackley Save Association website, which is www.saveassociation.com, and this is something that we're very proud to actually be part of. And before we go any further, don't forget, date in your diary, 9th of November. We're going to be there at the charity fundraising event at Manchester 235 Casino, and it's going to be a massive big quiz night that night, which is hosted by Mark McCarthy, huge big blue if you know him on Twitter. David White is also going to do a Q&A that particular evening. There'll be lots of photo opportunities. We're going to be there, we're going to be filming, we're going to be putting videos out. And so, guys, don't forget, the price is £99 for a team of 6. Now, included in that price for a team of 6 are 6 free drinks. Now, that is absolutely incredible value. I think it works out around about, I don't know, £12.50 if you take an average price of a drink per person for a full night that starts around about 7 o'clock. Goes through to around about 11, and it also gives you free access to the casino as well in Manchester. So don't forget, if you need tickets, make sure you contact David White, and you can contact him either via Twitter, and that is at DavidWhite_7, or you can contact ourselves, and my Twitter address is at AviationBlue. Or you can contact Ray, and his is at mancity_Ray, or send an email to Save Association, and you can either contact Mark at saveassociation.com, or you can contact David White, and that is David at saveassociation.com to purchase your tickets. Now, be quick, because there's only sort of a couple of months to go. Tickets are going to go quickly. There's about 300 people that's going to be there. So it's going to be a fantastic event. Really, really good, and supporting a wonderful charity. So don't forget, saveassociation.com. So the match preview for tomorrow then. So over to Jack with his first particular question.
Hi, this is Jack from Fulhamish. I'm joined by Andy from Man City Fan TV ahead of tomorrow's game between Manchester City and Fulham at the Etihad Stadium. We have 5 questions each to ask each other. So my first question to Andy is, what have you made of your start to this campaign?
Okay, so what have we thought, or what have I thought about the campaign so far this season? Well, we won the Community Shield against Chelsea. It was fairly comfortable. First game was always going to be a very, very dangerous game, which was away against Arsenal. And certainly with Emery being in charge, you just never knew what was going to happen. As it turned out, it was a pretty straightforward result, really. I thought Arsenal were poor. I thought we were good. And then we moved on to Huddersfield, and we saw the absolute 6-1 drumming of Huddersfield on that particular day, where we played very, very well. Huddersfield were all over the place, if I'm being honest. We moved on to Wolves, and a 1-1 draw. I thought Wolves were absolutely brilliant at home. Very, very defensive. They had very few chances. They scored a goal which shouldn't have been given, and I think we've all seen that anyway. But at the end of the day, they did what they needed to do, and I think they'll do very well against a lot of teams this season. And then we moved on to Newcastle, where we beat them 2-1 at home. Again, Newcastle just defended for their lives. Scored a wonderful goal, very, very good goal, and we were quite sloppy at the back. So, yeah, the start, well, unbeaten. We've won 3, drawn 1, and similar to what we started last season, and look where it ended up. 100 points, breaking records left, right and centre. So can't be disappointed considering we've had sort of 17, 18 players at the World Cup. Some have been injured. We've lost Kevin De Bruyne. But I think now, with players being rested in the international break that's just gone, I think Pep will start pushing them, and you'll start seeing the real Man City coming out in the next week or two, hopefully tomorrow. Okay, Jack, my first question to you is, how do you think Fulham have done over the first 4 games? You've got 4 points out of 4 games, so over to you. How's it gone?
So Andy's first question to me is, how have Fulham started the campaign? Well, in 4 games we've won 1, drawn 1 and lost 2. We started with a loss to Crystal Palace 2-0. Good goals from Jeffrey Schlupp and well taken again by Wilfried Zaha. And it was a bit of a downer to start the campaign, going into a home game where we thought our home form was imperious last year, the back end of last season, that helped us get promoted, but it wasn't to be on that opening day. Then we went to Spurs, and of course that was always going to be a tricky test, and the quality of Lucas Moura, Kieran Trippier and Harry Kane were too good for Fulham, even though we showed very good signs away from home. Then we actually beat Burnley 4-2. Very, very good performance from Fulham. We looked very strong, scored 4 goals, created a lot of chances, Andre Schürrle being at the heart of most of those chances. And then a very, very disappointing 2-2 draw to Brighton and Hove Albion, where we were in control of the game at 2-0. We'd, previously saved a penalty from Marcus Bettinelli from Pascal Gross. But the game slipped away from us, and Glenn Murray bagged a goal and another penalty. And very disappointed to go into that international break. But I think we've started well. We've showed positive signs going forward, and we have that quality, and I think it will be enough to keep us in the division. But Manchester City are a completely different beast, and they will probably wipe the floor with us. But nonetheless, we've started well, and it's an exciting squad. It's very exciting with new players and the same system, but it's looking very promising for Fulham. My second question for Andy is, who are your main threats tomorrow, and who do you think are Fulham's main threats?
So who do I think is going to be sort of Fulham's main threats, and who do I think City? Who from City is going to be the main threats tomorrow? From Fulham, well, in my fantasy football team that I'm currently number 1 in on the Man City Fan TV channel, Fantasy League, Mitrovic has done really, really well. He's big, he's strong, he just is a handful. So depending on who's going to play tomorrow, maybe Otamendi might be back. He's been rested from international break, so it'd be good to see him back, the General, because last season he was voted into the Premier League's Team of the Year. So we've not seen him so far, or very, very little of him. So it'll be interesting. We're gonna have to be very combative against Mitrovic and be very careful of him. I also think Schürrle's in my fantasy team as well, even though he's been on the bench of late. I think he's even though he didn't have a great time at Chelsea, I think he's a very, very, very good player. So we're going to have to be really, really careful of those two, in my opinion. So as far as City goes, I keep saying it every week when fan channels ask me, take your pick, and I don't mean that to sound sort of big-headed or not, but it's really, really difficult to just sort of name one person. I think what's going to be an intriguing battle is if Sterling plays on the right this time rather than the left, where he has mainly started. Sterling up against Ryan Sessegnon, who I think is an exceptionally gifted young player, and if he does play left back, then that's going to be very intriguing. It looks like Pep's announced that Sterling is fit to play tomorrow, so I would expect him to play, whether he plays on the right where he did last season, or whether he's been played on the left where he can cut in and score goals like he did last week or against Arsenal. We're yet to see, but I mean, I keep saying it all the time, and I keep saying the fact that if you keep David Silva quiet, then teams generally do well. We haven't got Kevin De Bruyne in there, so it's not like it's De Bruyne and Silva. But if you keep David Silva quiet, then he's the one who is just wonderful to watch. very dangerous. He just dictates and controls play. So I think you're going to have to be very careful of Silva. He drifts in and out. He finds those gaps between your midfield and your centre-backs, and he drifts into those spaces, which then leaves the likes of Sergio Aguero, who's got a wonderful record against Fulham. It looks like he's going all out this season. He's said he's fit as he's ever been. So danger man for me, Sergio Aguero, if you don't keep David Silva quiet. My next question to you, Jack, is tomorrow. I think there's going to be some key battles all over the pitch. Where do you think they're going to take place? Because Mitrovic has obviously started really well, but whereabouts do you think those battles are going to be won and lost?
So Andy's second question to me is, on the pitch, where will the game be won and lost? There'll be some key battles, but where will the game be won and lost ultimately? And well, my answer to that is, well, if you look at each position individually, we'll start from defence. Both teams kind of play a kind of similar style of play. They want to keep the ball, keep it moving, keep it passing, and we'll start in the defence, where we'll have, for instance, we'll have probably Fulhamish playing at right back and Joe Bryan hopefully playing at left back, not Le Marchand like against Brighton. And with Joe Bryan, he likes to get forward, as well as a Fulhamish, that overlapping runs, underlapping runs, and bring others into play. And that could be key. And then we look at Manchester City, and I think obviously Kyle Walker on one side and Benjamin Mendy on the other. Benjamin Mendy we've seen so far for Manchester City attack forward with menace, and you know, he's got a few assists to his name already this season. In the midfield, we're going to be playing probably a triangle pivot of we'll have McDonald and Anguissa as midfield pivot, with Seri just at the point of that little triangle in midfield. They'll just try and, you know, play passes in between each other, bring them into the wing, bring the wide men into play. Manchester City, of course, will have the likes of David Silva, Fernandinho in midfield, which is going to be, you know, very tricky players to deal with. It's going to be a great midfield battle, I think, between the two teams. And then up front, of course, they've got Sergio Aguero and Gabriel Jesus. I'm not sure if they'll play both at one time or just Aguero on his own. And we've got Mitrovic, and then we obviously like to bring in Vieto and Schürrle into the play. I think it's going to be a really interesting battle, but Manchester City have that added quality. So I think in the final third, that's probably where the game is going to be won and lost, with Sergio Aguero and his potency in front of goal. My third question for Andy is, do you think this title race will be closer than last season, i.e. more teams being involved within the title race?
So your third question is, do I think this season is going to be closer than it was last season? Absolutely, yes. I've said it in every pre-match fan interview that we've done. Yeah, definitely. We've got Liverpool, obviously, the number one challengers, I think, to the title this season. They've spent exceptionally well. They've still got the likes of Fabinho to come in. So I think Liverpool will be, you know, they'll be up there or thereabouts. I don't think it'll be anywhere near the distance that it was last season. And, you know, at the end of the day, I think Chelsea also are going to do really, really well under Sarri. I said it in the video that we did pre-match with Yannick from Chelsea. I think Sarri is a very, very, very good manager, and he'll get them playing this year. And they've made some decent signings as well. So, yeah, closer, definitely. I can't see there being any more than 5 to 10 points within it this year. If it's us, if not, I think we'll be right on the coattails of whoever is going to lead into the new year, after Christmas. So, yeah, it's going to make for an exciting season. It's definitely going to be closer than it was last year, for certain. My third question to you, Jack, is who's been your standout performer this season? Now, I know you're probably going to mention Mitrovic, but has there been anybody else in particular that has really stepped up in the Premier League this season?
Right, for question 3, Andy has asked me, who has been your standout performer so far for Fulham this season? And it has to be Jean-Michel Seri. This is a guy who has been linked with the likes of Barcelona, Borussia Dortmund, top teams in Europe, Chelsea, and he turned them all down. Well, he was close to a move actually to Barcelona last summer, didn't get it, kicked up a bit of a fuss, and that's where his form dipped for Nice. But now he's at Fulham, he's settled in well. He scored the goal of the month last month against Burnley. What a rocket that was. And he's been incredible. Like, literally, he's one of the best players I've ever seen play for Fulham, if not better. You know, we kind of compared him to that Moussa Dembele, who now plays at Spurs, the way he dictates the midfield. But Seri, is a completely different player. He just reads things so well and plays key passes in key areas. And his assist against Brighton was just incredible, fantastic ball that no one probably would have seen apart from himself. He's got assists, goals so far, and he's just been the standout man for Fulham. Andre Schürrle's also impressed, but for me, it's got to be Jean-Michel Seri, and I can't wait to see what this guy's got for the rest of the season. He is incredible, and we're so lucky to have him. My fourth question for Andy is, do you think Pep Guardiola is prioritising the Champions League over the Premier League this season?
The question of whether do you think Pep Guardiola's going to prioritise the Champions League over the Premier League? Simple answer is, Jack, absolutely no. Pep's already come out in interviews and said that the Premier League is the number one target. Always has been, always will be. It will certainly be for me, and I've said it in other previous interviews, that the Premier League, certainly winning it back to back, would be an incredible achievement. It's not been done for nearly, I think, 10 years. Pep has also said that over a 38 game season, that proves who the best team are in the league. The Champions League, as I said before, also it's a cup competition. You need a little bit of luck to go all the way, and even to win it. It can be refereeing decisions that go against you. It can be a one-off performance in over a two-legged game. It's just like the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup, and you're coming up against much better opposition as well. So, for me personally, I think Pep is always going to prioritise the Premier League, certainly winning it back to back. If he did that, then maybe the following season he might look at maybe the Champions League as the priority, but certainly this season it's going to be the Premier League without a shadow of a doubt. My fourth question to you, Jack, is if you could take one Man City player and have them in your squad or your starting 11, who would it be and why?
Question 4, Andy has asked me if I could have one, or if Fulham could have one Manchester City player, who would it be? That's a tricky one because there's so many fantastic players. But if I want a player that's gonna fit into our system, I would go for Kyle Walker, just because he kind of is a little bit like Ryan Fredericks, what we had last season, that ridiculous pace going forward, bombing on. I know we have Fulhamish, and I think he's a very good defender, probably an upgrade on Ryan Fredericks. But if you wanted an upgrade on Fulhamish and Ryan Fredericks, then Kyle Walker is the man. Probably the best right back in the league, if not Europe at the moment. Was fantastic for England during the World Cup, and his pace is just frightening. And yes, he has a good final delivery and can come up with the odd goal as well. A lot of people would think, well, why wouldn't you take David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne? Of course, I would love to, but purely based on the system that Fulham play, I would take Kyle Walker. And my fifth question for Andy is the score prediction for tomorrow's game at the Etihad Stadium.
And your final question, which is the score prediction. I get it wrong all the time. So I said Huddersfield would be close, and it was a high scoring win for City. It was 6-1, nowhere near close. I said Wolves might be a high scoring 4-2 to City, ended up a 1-1 draw. I said last week it'd be 3-1 City, it was 2-1, and it was a bit of a drab game, if I'm honest. Score prediction, who knows? We're at home, we're very strong at home. I'll go for, Man City 3, and I'll go the same again. Man City 3, Fulham 1. And one thing to be careful of, if we get an early goal and then we get a quick second, it could be any score. But if you defend well and cause us problems, it could be just like the Wolves game or the Newcastle game, where we were on the edge of our seats right until the last few minutes, because it was a bit of a dour game with sort of 9 men behind the ball, not doing much. If you adopt the similar tactics, which I don't think you will do, it could be a tight one. It really could. You guys are capable of playing some excellent football. You've got the players, you've got the danger in Mitrovic as well up front. with Schürrle behind him, pulling the strings. It depends. I mean, personally for me, it's always it's the midfield. If the midfielders win the battle, we've got some exceptional players out wide, wingers, Sane, Sterling, etc. Then we've got Aguero up front. We've got David Silva pulling strings. We've got Bernardo Silva. If the midfielders win the battle, you sit back and let us play. Then we can create anywhere between 10 and 20 chances per game, which when you think of conversion rates, you'd have to say we're going to convert at least one, maybe two, sometimes like against Huddersfield, 6, and missed an absolute hatful. So, sorry, that was my computer. Yeah, I don't know. I'll go for 3-1 City, only because we're at home, but it should be for an entertaining game with the way Fulham play. And my final question is, where do you think you're going to finish this season? Give me a finishing spot that you think would actually be fair to judge at this early stage. And also, what's your score prediction going to be for tomorrow's match at the Etihad that kicks off at 1500?
The final question that Andy has posed to me is, where do you think Fulham will finish, and what do you think the score will be tomorrow? Where I think we'll finish is probably about 15th, which for most Fulham fans could be quite underwhelming, but at the same time, you've got to be grateful that we're in the Premier League. You know, it's a very different competition to where we were 4 years ago. You know, you've got teams who are much stronger with a lot more money at their disposal to spend. You look at the likes of Bournemouth and Watford and Burnley, who have really kicked on since while we've been down in the Championship. So I think we'll finish 15th. I think we'll stay away from relegation problems, but it could be a little bit sticky in that March period. Hopefully we'll steer away from it. I think we do have the quality. I think we will do enough to stay up. And for tomorrow, a score prediction, well, a lot of people are saying it's a case of how many Manchester City will score. I think it's a case of whether Fulham's style of play can make any effect on Manchester City and cause them any issues. And I think we can cause you issues. You know, Mitrovic in the box, I've said before, he's fantastic at holding up the plate and he's so strong. So you put a ball in the box, you've always got a chance with Mitrovic. But purely because of Manchester City's quality, I am unfortunately going to predict Manchester City to win by 3-1. I think we will score. I think there is a chance that we will create a chance, more than one chance, and score. But Manchester City are just so good, so ruthless, and they've yet to really get going this season. Yes, they beat Huddersfield 6-1, but then they drew to Wolves 1-1, and then only slimly got past Newcastle. I think they'll be looking at this game thinking we have to go for it and get everyone excited again about the season, and that is why I'm going for a City win. Not that I'd like them to win, of course. I obviously want beloved Fulham to win, but that's the way it goes. 3-1 I predict. So on behalf of everyone at Fulhamish, thank you very much for having us on Manchester City Fan TV. Good luck for the game, make the best team win. Thanks to Andy for having me on, and we'll see you soon.
Anyway, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. I want to say a massive thank you to Jack from Fulhamish. Go over and check their channel out, guys. We'll see them hopefully tomorrow at the game and get a quick chat with them beforehand or maybe post-match as well. And we'll see you soon.